going to do something a little different this time. We've got some soundtracks we're going to go through.
Yeah.
So a couple of them are newer soundtracks. And one of them has older songs on a newer soundtrack. Anyway, this is 3 Random Records. I'm Robert John Hadfield.
I'm Gary Casella.
Gary Casella over here. We're at the Utah South Studios in St. George, Utah. And we have this little thing where we just sit and talk about records from back in the day, and it's very interesting. We actually, I don't know if you noticed, but I moved the turntable into the main area of the studio over there.
I like it.
So we have this massive record collection, and so our mission is to make all those years and years of worthless knowledge useful.
It wasn't worthless, man. We spent a lot of good college nights doing exactly
what we're doing
this
right here. Yeah,
we're
a little older, grayer, hair's a little thinner, but same kind of stuff happening.
Yes. No, it's cool. It's good.
But just as sexy.
Well, that could be debatable on some people's opinions. You, the listeners, you can tell
Let us know.
Oh, why am I always pointing when I want to make my point? You, the people, you can subscribe. Tell us.
Yeah. So, and by the way, go ahead and subscribe. And if you have anything in here that you're listening to and you see, please leave your comments. We love reading them. We love responding to them. It's super fun interacting with everybody and talking about all this stuff because it's just interesting and fun to talk about this stuff.
It's the good, the bad, and the ugly. We take it. We know we're drawn on 30, 40-year-old memories, experiences.
Yeah.
We just did an episode where we're talking about songs we listened to in high school that we danced to. The slow
dances.
I mean,
it's crazy thinking about that stuff.
I mean, that throws that. Yeah, those are old memories.
Yeah.
But good soundtracks.
All right, so we're gonna bust out 3 records here, and so let's get started. Let's take a look what's on. Here's the one on the top of the list. So this is actually obviously new vinyl. Well, relatively new.
Yeah.
So it's not like a lot of the stuff that we pull out. This is Guardians of the Galaxy
Deluxe
vinyl edition. This is I think it's a 2 record set. I bought this from somebody on Craigslist. They had some records that I wanted, and I can't remember what I bought from them, but they had a very particular one that I wanted. And then when I got there, they had a few others, and I thought, okay, I'll get this one and this one. And
the movies are fantastic. I mean, Marvel's done a great job.
Yeah.
I just got done watching them in chronological order.
Oh, really?
From Captain America. If you're subscribed to Disney Plus, which I am, happy subscriber, and you can go to the Marvel tab, and it puts them. You can watch them in different phases,
really?
And then there's one section that has them in chronological order. It makes so much sense. It's awesome. It connects everything. If you're kind of slow to connect the dots, you watch them that way, which it took us a little while, but my daughter and I watched them, and it was actually pretty awesome because it connects everything, because it's, everything that's coming in, you kind of have know what's happening. So it fits it in timeline order, and we just finished Endgame a couple weeks ago. So
very cool.
Now we watched Loki. And we just started.
Okay, I need to do this then, because it's good. Be honest with you, I've watched a couple of these Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
There's only 2, but they're awesome.
And I guess what I should say is I don't watch all the Marvel movies. There's only 2 Guardians of the Galaxies, and I guess I've seen both of them. I guess.
All right.
I just lose track because Marvel has put out so many things that I just lose track of what I've seen and what I haven't seen, and now we have the soundtrack. Interestingly, here in the studio, a guy that was in this movie has actually been in here. Tom Proctor is his name.
Hey,
I don't remember what his part was. Yeah, he actually lives here in southern Utah.
Yeah.
So he's been in the studio. So it's kind of cool seeing this, and
shout out to Tom Proctor.
Yes. Yeah, he's actually recorded some vocals for a song in here. The guy writes great music. It's catchy. Cool. I mean, it is catchy, fun, cool music. If you ever get a chance, he has this song called, I think it's called 47 Harleys. I mean, it is so great. Anyway, he's awesome. So Marvel soundtrack here. So there's the cover. We're going to flip it over. Back is just song list. And what's so interesting, I remember the first one, he had a cassette tape, mixtape.
Yeah, it's his parents' mixtape or something, and he has the cassette player that we reference to a lot that's on his hip belt, and he's got the headphones.
Walkman with the headphones.
Yeah,
I remember
Walkman
that was
with
the cool
headphones.
thing to have way back when.
And that's the throwback.
Sony Walkman.
But you know what? Because of this movie and because of that, you could buy a Guardians of the Galaxy replica Walkman. Like, they reissued the Walkman with a cassette, and I believe it had these songs.
Interesting.
That you can mimic. You know, I'm trying to remember. He goes by Star-Lord, one character, but I know that's not his name. He has another name. But the one that listens and was born on Earth, that you know, you can be that guy. I want to say my nephew, Will. I know you're listening. I know I'm probably not, but but I believe he had one. I was like, dude, that's so cool. You got a Walkman. He's like,
that is
from
pretty
Guardians
cool.
of the Galaxy. Yeah. So anyway,
so
great songs though.
And looking at this list, I tell you, so it looks like what they did here is on the second album, they have all the songs are written. It looks like specifically for this movie. And then side A and side B.
So that's what I said. The original score.
There it is.
Right.
There's the score, and then the mix. This song, I got to tell you, "I Want You Back" by the Jackson 5 is one of the greatest rock and roll songs ever written, ever recorded.
It's a great song.
It is a great. I cannot get enough of that. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. I love that song.
I mean, "Hooked on a Feeling" is a great
song.
Moonage Daydream from David Bowie. Have you ever heard? I
don't even think I know that song, which I feel stupid about.
I think it's on Ziggy Stardust.
I have like 3 copies of that album, but I haven't. Okay,
it's awesome. That's a
I don't know why
really
I'm not
cool
familiar
song.
with it.
And if you remember,
maybe I am, and I just don't realize it.
Anyway, remember I used to really like Razor X.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Paul Gilbert. Yeah,
he's still around. Paul Gilbert.
He's awesome. He's got great YouTube stuff.
He always has headphones on, doesn't he, when he's playing?
I know, he's awesome.
He's an interesting guy.
And he's kind of a cool dude. He's artsy guy.
Yeah.
But Razor X did like a high speed, high octane version of Moonage Daydream. Fantastic.
Really?
It's heavy.
Okay.
It's awesome.
It's
on my alley. It's not "I Want You Back" from the Jackson 5. But as I look down the list, "Come On and Get Your Love."
Come and get your love. And it had a sitar, electric sitar in it. And that was, they were all Native Americans. Have you seen them play that song?
No.
Go watch them play that song live. And they're Native Americans, like literally dressed up Native American garb. You know, at the beginning of if you watch that video, beginning of one of the takes of the video, you actually see them with a headdress dancing, the whole
that's
thing.
cool.
So yeah,
I see.
Huge hit.
"Cherry Bomb" from the Runaways.
Pina Colada song. Yeah,
that's some cool stuff. That definitely
ain't
a
no
great
man
thing.
high. Marvin Gaye, love Marvin Gaye. So yeah, there's some really good tunes on there, and then soundtracks. There's always
score.
great stuff. Now let's
What's
just
on the
open this
inside?
up. Take a look at the inside. I don't think this.
Hold on.
The
There's
camera
some
has a wide angle on this right now, but so you can see
the tracks.
Looks like they just list the tracks, information about the tracks, must be who wrote the song, et cetera, et cetera.
So what's the
Do we have
deluxe?
some
Is
cool
the deluxe? These are all from the
cool
movie.
imagery from the movie, yeah. And it's all 3D rendering stuff.
Yeah, it's
very cool.
Yeah, it looks like it's maybe
Let's
what
take
do
a
they
look
call
on the
the art
inside.
before they do the?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I'm not sure what the. Looks like this has a little. I don't know if that's damage or if that's part of the.
They got like a special thing on there that makes it the deluxe.
You know what? I think that's intentional, and maybe that's part of something that I don't understand. Yeah, look at this. They said this side. There's texture on there that makes that look like almost like an album. See that? The texture on the inside of the circle there.
Yeah.
Then on this one, and like this, I was wondering if this is intentional, but there's texture right on here. But it's such that it doesn't. You can still see all the writing, which tells me that it's intentional. It wasn't ripped off. You know what I'm saying? Can you see that?
I do a little bit. Oh, yeah. I can see there's something right there, right?
Yeah, and there's some right there, and there's some right there. It's like it looks like it was peeled off, like aged, ripped, but it doesn't interfere with the colors or the writing. You'd think that wouldn't be able to see the writing if it really was damaged, which makes me think it might have been, maybe that's intentional. Let's look at the other record. And maybe that's something thematic from the movie, and I'm just too stupid to remember that there was something like that would make you, because it does have that retro.
I mean, that's the whole
retro
idea,
feel.
right?
And then this one has a different color middle.
That's cool.
That has that similar kind of texture there. So yeah, only that one side had that. So it may have been damaged. I don't know. Anyway, it's kind of interesting though.
So
they have different colors on the different sides. Anyway, kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Nothing super crazy, but
I wonder if the deluxe is the fact that they have
but
the
still pretty
score
cool.
and
maybe
the mixtape songs.
Yeah, that may be. So the deluxe vinyl. How interesting. Yeah, it's
but great.
It's interesting though, like getting back to what you said, the fact that they resurrected not just the mixtape, but they did a whole bunch of people a big favor. You know, like I mean, the Come and Get Your Love. That's, I don't know for sure, but I would imagine that song disappeared forever, and then all of a sudden
on some
it's in
throwback station on the radio. But yeah,
then somebody pushes it on here, and now it's huge again, and everybody knows the song. So
well, it's a new generation of people.
Yeah, and then they discovered these old songs, and you see that kind of thing happen where an album comes out. But, you know, it's even funny because you'll find, I wish I could remember, but there was, speaking of Disney, like we did before, there was some Disney, you know, they'll resurrect songs too, but they'll re-record them with a new artist.
Yeah.
I remember there was one that a song came on the Disney Channel, and I started singing along with it. It was a new version. My daughter goes, this was 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. How do you know this song?
Yeah.
And I go,
just came out.
Because this is not a new song.
Right.
This has been around forever.
I brought up the fact that like it was like a Disney pop thing that they did the doc in. I think I sent you the link. You know.
In my dreams. In my dreams. You sent me the link. I listened to it. Exactly. They resurrect these old songs. It's not a new song.
It's like kid pop.
But this was the way it was when we were kids too. Yeah. I mean, because what was the girl Tiffany? I think we're alone now.
Yeah,
that was from the 60s.
Yeah.
And I thought it was her, but nope. Sure enough, it's just some old song that they pulled back out, and so that happens all the time.
Oh, that's cool.
Anyway, so that's
Good
kind
soundtrack.
of, it's kind of cool having vinyl of
new
this
vinyl.
stuff. New vinyl, yeah. This is a soundtrack that's not new, but this was
one of the biggest soundtracks.
This is
ever.
one of the indeed. Saturday Night Fever. I remember when this album came out, and the Bee Gees, of course, huge hits on this, and then of course John Travolta.
Right.
This was
this
one of his
huge.
big things, and the Bee Gees had these great songs on here. I mean, it was so big in so many different ways. I mean, it actually was one of those things that had a massive impact just on the culture. This is when disco was a big deal, right. And so this whole album, John Travolta, dancer, disco, the whole thing, and so. But there was actually a lot of great music on here. And let's look at the flip side.
I mean, half the movies, them at the club and dancing.
So you have all these songs. And so you have Stand Alive. Well, you can tell by the way I use my walk. I mean,
good job doing that.
But it's a great song, man. You listen to that song, you can't help but move.
Is awesome.
You just want to move when you listen to it. It's so good.
It's a great song.
How Deep Is Your Love? Slow tune. Great song. If I Can't Have You, I Don't Want. Now, here's a little trivia. Yvonne Elliman, you know who this is? We've talked about her before in another episode.
Well, who is she?
Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh, yeah,
she played Mary Magdalene.
That's right.
So, If I Can't Have You. But this song, If I Can't Have You, I Don't Want Nobody, Baby, that was actually a Bee Gees song.
Gotcha.
She sang it in here. Fifth of Beethoven, that was a music. It was instrumental, mm-hmm. But it was I think it was Beethoven's Fifth Symphony done with at the time modern jive talking Bee Gees. What a and jive talking and tell me no lie. I mean, oh my gosh, this stuff is so. And there was a time in my life when it was so uncool to like this stuff. Yeah, when we were young.
I know.
But now you go, no, this was just some of the greatest. More than a woman to me. Because that was another one of their songs, right? They wrote that song. Night Fever and the Night Fever. Oh my gosh, that was
definitely
was
don't
also
know that one.
Great song. My boogie shoes. Casey and the Sunshine Band. That guy had a bunch of good
of hits.
tunes, bunch of hits. So that was cool. Disco Inferno. I kind of remember that tune. If I heard it, I'd be able to sing along.
Yeah, definitely.
You should be dancing, yeah. What you doing on your back? What you doing on your back? That was. They were so good.
When you pull these out, I'm actually pretty impressed.
They were so good. And there's More Than a Woman. Their version. More than a woman to me.
Yep.
And then I don't know Night on Disco Mountain. And
anyway,
I
know like handful.
So much great music on this. So much great music. And then in the inside, you have all these. We'll just kind of show the two different pieces. This pictures from the movie. That's basically the idea here.
Sure.
A whole bunch of sexy John Travolta. Dancing with his white suit.
Dude, yes, disco, definitely. But I mean, you're looking at this height of disco, late 70s, early 80s, right?
Yeah, it had early 78, 79. Wasn't it right in there?
It's pre-us, man.
Yeah.
I mean, but the point is that John Travolta, right? He's like a classical dancer, but he's also a disco dancer at night.
Yeah, and they had a. Oh, you know what? Let's look here. I guess this was just a single album because I don't see another one in here. This is what it looks like in here in the inside. Sorry, there.
Is it Rhino Records or RSO?
RSO Records. I remember that.
Yeah, but Saturday Night Fever. Wow. I mean,
there another picture.
Staying Alive is obviously the huge hit off this.
Yeah, and it was a great song. It was a great piece of music. Let's look at the inside and see if there's anything here.
Bee Gees are still
typical
getting their bills paid off that.
Label. Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. These songs were just so. No, this was a double album. I'm almost positive about it. Yeah, record 2. I've got 3 or 4 copies of this, kind of like other albums, but for some reason the second album is missing in here. Yeah, I don't have it in here, but at least we have one of them. You can kind of see what it looks like on the inside. So I don't know what the other. It's unfortunate I don't have the other insert so we could see that, but it's nothing too spectacular. They just have the.
Yeah,
who wrote the songs and who performed
basic
them,
info,
that kind of
right?
Yeah, all the basic stuff.
But again, we're talking soundtracks. How many soundtracks really were,
There's a few that changed the world. Footloose was one of those. Another dance.
I remember Sound of Music at my house. Like, that's a movie soundtrack.
Yeah.
Doe, a deer, female deer.
Female deer.
Like, okay, but Saturday Night Fever was way more mainstream. I think that's what was the game changer about that it was a movie soundtrack in the early 80s or whenever it came out, and you're hearing the songs on the radio.
That'd be an interesting thing to see what other things were soundtracks prior to that really moved the needle the same way. Because, you start thinking of things, for example, they had another album called Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band that came out, I think, sometime after this one, which was just a bunch of revisited Beatles songs. And it was a movie with Peter Frampton. And that was kind of significant. I remember that was a big deal. But what I was going to say is a lot of... No. But I was thinking, what I was going to say is the other soundtracks you think of prior to that, at least, and we should talk about this some, and maybe other people can comment on this. What were the other big soundtracks prior to this one? Because the ones I think of were soundtracks that were just like Beatles. In other words, Help had a soundtrack.
Right.
Let It Be had a soundtrack. But they were movies about the band, and it just had their songs on it.
Musicians or whatever,
Elvis, Aloha from Hawaii.
Right.
Well, that was it was a video. I guess that wasn't necessarily a movie, but Elvis had movies, and there was a soundtrack from the movie. It was just Elvis.
Yeah. But that's a vehicle for his music to get out a little bit more. And
that's what I mean. It's kind of, this is different in that way. And I'm trying to think what before this. We'll have to look into that. Other soundtracks that existed prior to that, or was this one that maybe really moved the needle?
You know, we got the followers that can kind of tell us.
If you can think of soundtracks prior to that, what were the things that really had a significant impact on culture and society?
What's your favorite soundtrack? Like, what's a soundtrack that was like, whoa, I bought this thinking, I love the Top Gun theme or whatever the soundtrack is.
We did the soundtrack for, was it Halloween? That was Fastway. Remember that? Yeah. That was one we did on the Halloween thing. And it was the album. The album was called Halloween because it was a movie. It was a soundtrack made mostly by Fastway.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, soundtracks.
That is not a top-selling soundtrack.
No. No, you know what's funny? I actually, in a Facebook feed that I'm on, that album popped up from somebody put that out, and I thought, dude, I didn't know anybody in the world even knew that existed besides me, and I mean us. We talked about it. Very few people ever got involved with that one. Okay, so last soundtrack, and I'm embarrassed to tell you, I haven't seen this movie.
Oh.
And my kids are, matter of fact, I've mentioned that to my kids a couple times. They're like, Dad, you're such an, well, they don't call me an idiot, but that's what they're thinking, because it is one of the, it's like considered one of the greatest. I mean, just great movie.
Yes.
And I frankly love Hugh Jackman. I mean, the first time I ever was introduced to him, like a lot of people, was when he was Wolverine.
Sure.
And I kind of always liked him ever since. And Zac Efron, of course. I mean, we were talking about Disney and High School Musical, because that's what he was, right?
Absolutely.
That guy turned out to be. I mean, he's like a good-looking dude, and he's a great actor, a great singer.
She's also a Disney product.
Really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, she was on, again, crazy Disney knowledge is she's Casey Undercover.
Okay. I didn't even know what that is. Well, your daughter's a lot younger. Mine graduated from the Disney a while ago.
And she was in, not Just Shoot Me, that's David Spade. Shake It Up. There's a TV show, or they had a show called Shake It Up where she's like a dancer. That's
interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. It's actually pretty cool.
Well, I'm sad because I don't know any of these songs, so I can't. Otherwise, I'd probably be singing them.
Singing
right now.
along. No, you've got.
But I bet you all my daughters all know this stuff because they tell me all the time it's one of the greatest movies they've ever seen.
It is,
and
it is awesome.
And
no
I've
doubt
not
about
seen
it.
So
I'll go through my knowledge of them. The Greatest Showman. That's a great song. Hugh Jackman, I think, does the vocals on it. I'm trying to think. I think Zendaya sings one on here. I don't know which one, but I'm the visual person. So
it does say. Does it say it on there? No, this is Zafman, Hugh Jackman, performed by Ziv. I'm just trying to see on here which of these things were performed by who. Huh.
But these are, I mean, for a modern show and movie, this is a great one. We can revisit this, but this is good. There's another one, the little boy sings that. I don't know which one is on there. I mean, again, 3 random records. These are random.
Yeah, and there are people, including my kids, that are going to be making comments about what a moron I am that I don't know anything about this. Now, this is interesting because this is one of the things that made records so great.
Modern vinyl, modern packaging.
Is that they actually, the thing about these two is they actually have some heft. I mean, if you feel this, it doesn't feel like, that's interesting the way they even put this together here, because they don't list any of the tracks. But you can see the track breaks, but they don't list them at all. It's very, and feel the heft on this thing. It's got a little, it's solid.
Almost feels like when we were talking about in the other episode, like the older vinyls were heavier like that.
78 RPMs.
Yep.
Matter of fact, 78 RPMs, really old, actually were made out of metal, and they had the
vinyl on top.
Or I don't know if it was vinyl or what it was, but it was on there. But they were very, very heavy because of that. So let's take a look at this they have this booklet. And this was, once again, back in the day, this was kind of common to get an album that had a booklet of some sort in there, of things to look at.
Thumb through
One of my favorites is a Jethro Tull album where they have just crazy cool pictures of the band. And so here, this looks like must be shots from the
show and the stage,
the movie. Let's kind of scan across these so you can see them. Oh, it looks like they have lyrics to the songs in here too.
Nice.
So let's flip this, kind of flip through these. Kind of just cool. Yeah, there we go. So this looks like it's about 8 pages. That's a really cool picture.
Yeah.
God, all
right, you gotta
feel
see the
stupid
movie.
that I haven't seen this movie now. I feel especially because we're sitting here talking about it and I don't have anything to say other than I like Hugh Jackman.
We can do there's Zendaya and Zac Efron. It's trapeze.
Interesting. Cool.
It's good stuff, man.
And
All right,
more
well, we can
stuff.
revisit this.
And
But this
there's
is
the back.
a great show. That's the bearded lady that's singing. Because the song's about, or the whole movie's about Ringling.
P.T. Barnum.
P.T.
right?
Barnum, yeah.
Yeah. I need to make that.
You can check it out.
Days. That's really interesting.
But that's our 3.
So three records, couple of them brand new or recent years, more recent printing. The one that we looked at from the Saturday Night Fever, that's an original. You know what? We didn't actually look what the date was. Let's take a gander at that. I want to see what year this came out. Dude.
78?
77.
77.
77. And, at this point, Barry's the only one that's alive.
Yeah.
These two guys are gone. So, God, they were cool, man. Such great songwriters. And he brought the falsetto thing.
Yeah,
because they didn't
that's
do
crazy.
that early. Their early music, they didn't have that kind of singing. They kind of introduced that with the disco stuff. And on principle, I hated it. but man, you listen to it today and you go, dude, they were just top shelf songwriters, singers. Everything about them was just great.
Well, good trifecta, man.
Yeah, that was good stuff. So thanks for watching. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Yeah, thanks very much. We appreciate you guys.
Take care. 3 Random Records is a production of Thick and Mystic Media and is recorded in Utah South Studios, located in St. George, Utah. Don't forget to visit audiomover.com to convert your old audio and videotapes to digital.